So we didn't come here to be tools of exhaustion to someone else's kind of bottom line. We came here to remember our divinity.
Welcome to all God's children, living epistles and words made flesh to a season of divine rest. Thank you for tuning in to the Raceless Gospel Podcast, where we gather this season to talk about the colonization of a communal phrase, stay woke, and how the African American community created their own poetic justice when they grabbed a comforter and a pillow. I am your host and podcast pastor, Starlette Thomas. This episode of the Raceless Gospel Podcast is brought to you by Invested Faith. Invested Faith believes that despair is a luxury vulnerable communities cannot afford. That's why Invested Faith equips social entrepreneurs called Invested Faith Fellows who are rooted in faith, building sustainable businesses, and working to change unjust systems. Since 2021, Invested Faith has supported more than 70 fellows across 26 states and D.C. Leaders advancing food justice, creating safe spaces for survivors, uplifting refugee and immigrant women, and more. Fellows are primarily women and people of color, building enterprises that embody faith, community, and justice. If you are a person of faith who believes in the future of God's good work, then join in resourcing this movement. Visit investedfaith.org to learn more, donate, or partner with innovators healing the world.
Faith Commons is pleased to sponsor this season of the Raceless Gospel. We are an interfaith organization in Dallas, Texas, working to amplify diverse faith voices for the common good. Our country has a rich but endangered tradition of church-state separation. Yet true religious liberty aims for a robust pluralism, where people of all faiths and none are welcome to participate freely and fully in public life. Unfortunately, Christian nationalism and its twin sister, Christian supremacy, are ever-present threats. Faith Commons counters these threats by calling on all faiths to bring their spiritual reasoning to the commons. Listening to the unique sounds of these different voices, we hear a beautiful harmony that sings of what Dr. King called the beloved community. We hope you hear those same mystic chords of unity in the Raceless Gospel. Learn more at faithcommons.org.
Good Faith Media welcomes American Baptist Home Mission Societies as a proud sponsor of Season 6 of the Raceless Gospel Podcast. ABHMS affirms that justice is a sacred calling, and awareness of injustice, possible with eyes open or shut, is a spiritual discipline. For nearly 2 centuries, ABHMS has equipped bold change makers and faithful advocates across the U.S. and Puerto Rico to lead their beloved communities with vision and courage. This April in Cleveland, ABHMS hosts the 2026 Space for Grace and Spiritual Caregivers Conference, where storytelling takes center stage as a tool for faith leaders to liberate, connect, and transform. Learn more at abhms.org. Thank you, ABHMS, for your courage in the face of injustice. On today's podcast, I am joined by Tecca Thompson, who is known as the Rested Black Woman and the founder of Sacred Healing Spaces. In this episode, we discuss the power of refusal, the divine right to rest, and the liberation experienced by closing one's eyes. But first, won't you pray for us? And with me. God, I confess that deep down I'm tired. Lead me deep into the weeds. Hush and harbor me. Give me sleep patterns that revolutionize my imagination and make my dreams sweet. Deliver me from the shame, the guilt of resting as it is my divine right and not something I earn. Instead, rest is an internal rhythm, though commodified through exclusive wellness centers and expensive retreats. Oh, deliver me from package deals and payment plans, because rest comes naturally. Empower me to put to rest the need to explain or justify or seek approval for napping, for nodding, for resting this body that belongs to me. Instead, may my eyes get heavy and my mouth open for a yawn and close with a smile, and my limbs stretch out and grab a soft covering because the spirit of slumber has fallen on me. Help me to rest well and with the blessed assurance that I don't have to do another thing. Giving honor to the ancestors who took their emancipation into their own hands and who paid the price, a cruel calculation, just to rest assured that they could be themselves. Hear the testimony of W. Hawley, interviewed in 1863. W. Hawley said he was formerly a slave, but bought himself at the age of 24 for $1,620, which was to be paid in 8 years, and he earned it all, and paid it all, and became free. He then went hard to work and earned more money, and bought his sister for $850. He now has 2 drays, 2 horses, owns his house, and considers himself worth $2,000. Our sacred reading is taken from the African American literary canon. Hear the words of the Nap Bishop, Tricia Hersey. It is time to go deeper into your rest practice and begin to see naps as more than a shortened sleep moment. Naps are an invitation to enter a portal of care and invention. Things can be worked out in this dream space that can't be addressed while awake. You should come here often. Trust the portal of rest. Imagine a rested world. This is Starlette Thomas, your podcast pastor, and we'll be right back. Are you tired of our faith being hijacked in the public square? Are you looking for in-depth reporting about faith and politics that lifts up a better way? That's why A Public Witness exists. A Public Witness is an award-winning email newsletter from Brian Kaler and the rest of the team at Word and Way. Each week, A Public Witness calls out the bad actors using religion as a political weapon. It's beyond time to push back against the extremism that's distorting the message of Jesus at political rallies, in the halls of power, and even from some pulpits. So sign up today and start reading at publicwitness.wordandway.org. You will start receiving news and analysis you will not find elsewhere. That's publicwitness.wordandway.org. This is Starlette Thomas, welcoming you back to this episode of the Raceless Gospel Podcast. I want to introduce to some and present again to others Tecca Thompson, who is a rest doula and somatic guide who supports Black women in laying down exhaustion and reclaiming rest as a sacred birthright. Through breath, story, and nervous system care, Tecca invites a return to the body, to truth, to wholeness. Today's conversation employs the tradition of call and response, a sacred back and forth practiced in the African American religious experience during the sermon's delivery. Feel free to talk back to us in the Amen Corner. So I'm so glad that you have joined us for season 6 of the Raceless Gospel Podcast, where we are questioning this notion of staying woke. So this season is for the sleepy-headed church. This episode is Sweet Dreams, and we certainly wish that for you all. My first question to you, Tecca, is this. Tricia Hersey concluded in Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto. It can be easier to believe resting is simply about retiring to your bed when you are tired, instead of beginning the messy process of deconstructing your own beliefs and behaviors that are aligned with white supremacy and capitalism. You must be committed to studying how training under the abusive teachings of dominant culture has you bound and limited. This is healing work. This is justice work. When we are aligned against the ideas of the oppressive culture, we understand we didn't arrive on earth to be a tool for a capitalist system. Why is this reframing of rest so important?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And I absolutely love this question because just as we've been lied to believe that our divinity is outside of us, rest is the same way. It's a state of being. So we didn't come here to be tools of exhaustion to someone else's kind of bottom line. We came here to remember our divinity and that rest is a state of being. It's already in us. It doesn't exist outside of us. It's important for us to reframe this so that, in my opinion, rest is the quickest way for us to remember and return to our divinity. So I tell people all the time, resting is laying down or daydreaming or however you find your way to it. And the only way to do it is to do it. Lay down, take the nap, but the harder part that people don't talk about is the unlearning of systems of dominance. Like we wouldn't talk about all of them, but they're layered. Capitalism is the one that we most grind to, but once we release that, and then we have to learn how to release all of them. And it's both mentally and it's embodied.
It makes me want to lean into it more. Thank you so much for unpacking that. That it's not just laying down physically, but then laying down those burdens that you mentioned: capitalism and white body supremacy and patriarchy and racism and so on. So why is rest a form of resistance? Why must African Americans exercise their power to refuse to labor, to grind, to hustle, to work themselves to the bone, as my grandmother would say?
Oh, this is an excellent question, and I just got chills, and I'm so glad you asked it because I have a couple of layers in here. First of all, Black folks need to uh, understand that rest is resistance because the systems in place were never made for us, ever. Never made for us to thrive, never made for us to even survive.
That's right.
And they've evolved to tolerate us and give us small tokens of human rights that are really ours by birthright. And we need to really understand that, like right now, we have people fighting for rights to return. But I'm like, no, we're going to resist that because we will be fighting for tolerance again. We don't want to be tolerant. We don't want to be tolerated. So Black folks need to like learn rest as resistance so that we can be in a state to imagine something that we've never seen before. And it can only come in this state of returning to ourselves through rest, through dreams and imagination. Secondly, I believe that this time on the planet is there's something happening, and God is calling forth Black women in particularly to rest because wherever we're going with this dream state imagination, Black women will lead.
Say that.
We need to lay down to rest to unlearn strength. Because where we're going, we will lead with our spiritual gifts. Like our presence will be our power. It'll be a combination of all of these things that have been implanted in our DNA. I always say, Black women, like, who's better to lead than a Black woman? Like when our ancestors had to nurse their oppressors' babies and then also take
Come on.
care of displaced children that were coming from other plantations, and we did that all with open arms. And so that's encoded in our DNA that our leadership is a style leadership that doesn't leave people behind. So the answer to your question is twofold. Black folks need to rest just because these systems weren't made for us, period. Black women need to rest because it's a spiritual call right now on the planet for us to come into alignment with who God created us to be, which is leaders. And that's why Black women get so much pushback. That's why we are who we are.
Yeah. And thank you for naming that. That's important for us to rest in order for us to tap into our imaginations and to dream things we haven't seen. It's so important because we were talking about this book titled Imagination, a Manifesto by Ruha Benjamin. And she quotes the writer and activist Adrienne Marie Brown, who reminds us that we are in an imagination battle. And I think that's so important for us to name. They're not just persons are not just fighting for resources, they're fighting for your headspace and to rob you of your dreams. So thank you for naming that, along with the importance of resting. So the question that I have for you next is, what messages are we sending our bodies when we deprive them of rest?
Well, the message that we send our body is that, the message that's received our body is it doesn't trust us anymore. Our body won't trust us. So therefore, this wisdom that is encoded in us doesn't rise to the top. It's like if your body can't trust you to take it to the bathroom when it needs to go to the bathroom, or to lay down when your eyes get heavy, then to allow this beautiful bodily wisdom to rise, the body won't trust you.
Ugh.
And that's why we have to lay down, because the body's been saying, I have a message for you. It has come straight from the Holy Spirit. But until you slow down, you will never hear it. All of this busyness is done by intention. So the answer is that we teach our body and the wisdom in it not to trust, that we will listen.
I don't even. Oh my gosh. That was such. That was so good. That was so good. You hinted at it a little bit earlier, but could you say more about why rest is our divine right?
I experienced this for myself. Now, I've been in a practice of rest for almost 6 years, 5 years, 5.5 years, like centering rest. And it is definitely a practice because these systems live deeply in our tissues. And we're responding to patterns that sometimes we're not aware of. And I was working with a coach, and it was a polarity session. And we got to a level of rest where I had a huge paradigm shift. Like, rest is an inner state, it is a state of being. And it's nothing that you have to earn, like, it is there. And I had this experience where every part of my being was rested. My body was rested. My blood pressure was the lowest it's ever been in my adult life. Conversations were rested. I was able to ask people for what I need without that angst of, is this too much? Or like, everything was flowing with ease. And I'm like, this is truly the birthright rest that Tricia Hersey has been talking about. I thought I was accessing it because I was taking a nap every day, but there's a level of rest that comes naturally with who we are and how we're created. And here's a hint to it. We literally have a system in our body or our nervous system that's called rest and digest. So it's hidden in plain sight that rest is a part of internal systems. So you don't have to earn it. That's the lie. That's the illusion that you have. It's outside of you, just like our divinity is outside of us.
We also don't have to travel to it, right? We don't have to go to these retreat centers. We're not. We don't have to hop on a plane. We just have to center down and tap into it. Because the way
Yes, and
what
let
you
me say something
say that,
about
say it,
that
say
too.
it.
This commodified self-care, rest, and all of these things. Um, essentially just it's a cycle of, okay, I'm the system that wore you down. Now give me $2,500 so I
Ah,
can I can sell you something that you already have.
come
Rest
on.
100% accessible. And even if you cannot get to this level of internal rest that I'm talking about, just the fact that you stop, you slow down, and with intentionality, you say, this time is sacred. I'm reclaiming these 2 minutes. I'm reclaiming this 5 minutes back to me. It's different than just taking a break because, whoo, I'm tired. You're taking a break because, whoo, I'm tired. And wait, I'm reclaiming myself back to me. And that's how it starts. 1 minute at a time, 2 minutes at a time, one pause at a time.
I love it. I love it. One final question, and you kind of you've walked us right to it. How can we reclaim our rest to include nap time and have sweet dreams?
Again, I love this question, and we've been kind of talking about this and leading up to it. It's simple. You rest by resting. It becomes hard because we have these systems running in us. And so behind the scenes in our tissues, in our thinking. So what I would really love to do is just lead us into a small practice. Like I said, rest begins 1 minute at a time with intentionality. I'm reclaiming this time back to me. That's how you rest and unlearn. So I just want to lead us in a little bit of a breath meditation.
Do it. Do it.
Um, so if it's comfortable to all of you, find yourself in a position that feels comfortable to you. So you might be laying down or you can be sitting up, but just find something that's comfortable. Bring your attention to your feet. Notice that they're on the ground, and then bringing your attention up to your hips, your sits bones, we call them. And from here, I'm going to invite you into a breath of air. We'll take it in through our nose, and we'll hold at the top and we'll exhale. Let the breath fall out of your mouth easily. And then just for a few seconds, that's all I want you to do is just practice noticing the breath moving in and out of your body. Right here, we're reclaiming this time as sacred. We're resting. Let your body rest on the chair, on the ground, on the earth, noticing there's nothing to do but rest and listen. And as you're letting that natural rhythm of breath flow in and out of your body, I want you to notice where you may be tight in your body. Notice that. I'm going to bring your attention. Systems of dominance and oppression and capitalism have a rhythm that runs in the body. And if you sit still long enough, you can feel it. It's like a hum. It's that thing that pulls you to an obligation when your body is tired. So as you're breathing, I want you to see if you can notice that hum, that rhythm. Some of you are feeling it right now. You want to get up, you want to move. Just notice that, be with it. Take another breath in and exhale. Let your body just relax to the chair or bed. And now I want you to notice in your body, where do you find ease? See if you can notice a space where it feels light. And then for a second, we're going to go back and forth. Notice, if you can, that whirl or rhythm that wants you to move. Now switching back to ease, comfort. Noticing the rhythm of go, I'm irritated. I got to get up. There's things to do. Now notice ease. And in this noticing of ease, we'll take another beautiful breath in through our nose. Hold at the top and exhale. We'll do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. And as we begin to end our practice, just for these last few seconds, sitting in a moment of ease. Perhaps notice if your shoulders dropped a little. If you're feeling a little more ease in the body, sit with that. Notice and reclaim this space and this time back to yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for having me. You know, this is a passion of mine. It's my ministry, my gift to the world. I'm very clear on what it is I'm supposed to be doing at this time on the planet is calling folks, and particularly Black women, into rest in preparation for where we're going as a planet next. And it starts with imagination, rest, dreams, and joy.
Thank you so much. I'm so relaxed. Oh my goodness, you are a gift. Thank you for gifting us with your time. And for the listeners, we certainly wish you sweet dreams. I want to thank our guest, Tecca Thompson, and extend to you, our listeners, an invitation to dream on and beyond your wildest dreams. This concludes this episode of the podcast and the conversation. Go lay down and rest. This concludes this season of the podcast, but not our resistance to capitalism, patriarchy, and white body supremacy. We will rest. This episode of the Raceless Gospel Podcast is brought to you by Invested Faith. Invested Faith believes that despair is a luxury vulnerable communities cannot afford. That's why Invested Faith equips social entrepreneurs called Invested Faith Fellows who are rooted in faith, building sustainable businesses, and working to change unjust systems. Since 2021, Invested Faith has supported more than 70 fellows across 26 states and D.C. Leaders advancing food justice, creating safe spaces for survivors, uplifting refugee and immigrant women, and more. Fellows are primarily women and people of color, building enterprises that embody faith, community, and justice. If you are a person of faith who believes in the future of God's good work, then join in resourcing this movement. Visit investedfaith.org to learn more, donate, or partner with innovators healing the world.
Faith Commons is pleased to sponsor this season of the Raceless Gospel. We are an interfaith organization in Dallas, Texas, working to amplify diverse faith voices for the common good. Our country has a rich but endangered tradition of church-state separation. Yet true religious liberty aims for a robust pluralism, where people of all faiths and none are welcome to participate freely and fully in public life. Unfortunately, Christian nationalism and its twin sister, Christian supremacy, are ever-present threats. Faith Commons counters these threats by calling on all faiths to bring their spiritual reasoning to the commons. Listening to the unique sounds of these different voices, we hear a beautiful harmony that sings of what Dr. King called the beloved community. We hope you hear those same mystic chords of unity in the Raceless Gospel. Learn more at faithcommons.org.
Good Faith Media welcomes American Baptist Home Mission Societies as a proud sponsor of Season 6 of the Raceless Gospel podcast. ABHMS affirms that justice is a sacred calling, and awareness of injustice, possible with eyes open or shut, is a spiritual discipline. For nearly 2 centuries, ABHMS has equipped bold change makers and faithful advocates across the U.S. and Puerto Rico to lead their beloved communities with vision and courage. This April in Cleveland, ABHMS hosts the 2026 Space for Grace and Spiritual Caregivers Conference, where storytelling takes center stage as a tool for faith leaders to liberate, connect, and transform. Learn more at abhms.org. Thank you, ABHMS, for your courage in the face of injustice.